Hello, fellow Disney dudes and dudettes. So, for this special interview, we are going on the subject of Kingdom Hearts. Because we have today with us is...
Kingdom Hearts!
Richard Epcar himself! Woo!
Wait, there's only one guy clapping. What's up with that?
We have a studio audience.
Oh, okay. How are you?
Hey. So, you are playing, Ansem, correct?
Yes, and Xehanort
And Tarranort, yeah.
Tarranort.
So, let's just get right to it.
Alright.
So, how did you find out that you would be doing Ansem?
I actually, it's funny, I can count the times that I've been cast without having to audition on one hand, probably, and this was one of those times. And it's kind of an interesting story. I don't know if you're familiar with my other works. I've done about 400 different characters in games and animation and anime.
Yeah, I also saw you in Lucky Star. You were the dad.
Yeah, that's one of many things. But anyway, one of the main characters that I'm well known for is Bato in Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
And Billy Zane, for whatever reason, he did the first one, played Ansem in the first one, and for whatever reason,
yeah, that's right,
didn't want to do it, or wasn't available, or wanted too much money. But they asked the producers in Japan who does the voice of Ansem in Japan, and apparently the guy that does the voice in Japan also does the voice of Bato and Ghost in the Shell in Japan. So they said, well, give me the English-speaking Bato in America. So they cast me, basically, based on that. So it was kind of for me, it was great, because I didn't have to go in an audition or anything.
Ah, sweet. So, did you hear about this, how it's having the Kingdom Hearts community, they also found out that the guy who does the voice of Axel, do you know Quentin Flynn?
Of course.
Yeah, he was one of the guys from Final Fantasy in Japan, so they thought they'd do the same thing with Quentin Flynn.
Yeah, well, thank God for those guys.
So, what's it like being Ansem, Seeker of Darkness?
It's great. I have to say, I'm in a lot of shows, a lot of games, a lot of things like that. But I have to say, my most favorite fans of all are the Kingdom Hearts fans. They're just the greatest, and every convention I go out to, they are just wonderful, and they're just terrific, and everyone's been very, very supportive and wonderful, and it's been great. It's been really, really a lot of fun, and I hope we continue doing them. They're supposedly going to be doing Kingdom Hearts 3, I hope.
Yeah, they are.
So hopefully, I've heard some weird things about it, which I can't talk about, but hopefully, my guy will continue on with the show. I hope so.
All right. So, what do you do different from Billy Zane when you record?
Well, I've never heard him do the character at all.
Really?
And I know that was kind of a bone of contention for some of the fans, because when I went in, when you're an actor and you're in the booth, you basically have to listen to the director. So the director kind of basically directed me to do it the way I did it in Kingdom Hearts 2. And I know some of the people were not happy with it, and I read some of the comments that people made, and they didn't think I was fierce enough or scary enough and that sort of thing. So as we've gone along, I've made him more fierce, because believe me, that's something that I can certainly do, and that's not a problem. But like I say, when you're acting in the booth, you have to kind of relegate it to the director and do what he wants.
Well, I gotta admit, I think that you are actually better than Billy Zane.
Oh, well, thank you. I like you so much more now.
Well, it's because, like, Billy Zane, he was, when he did the recording of Ansem in the first game, I mean, like, people did think that he was sort of a bad guy because he was the original, but he just felt more, like, laid back, and because he was just a Hollywood actor. But, like, when I heard you, I'm like, ooh, where did this guy come from?
Oh, thank you. I greatly appreciate that, because I know there was some people that weren't happy. And listen, I'm a huge James Bond fan, and I was very sad when Sean Connery stopped doing Bond. So I completely get that when you're attached to somebody doing, like right now I'm doing the Joker.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are upset about that because they love Mark Hamill's Joker, and that's all fine, and I get all that. But by the same token, you have to allow different actors to play different parts, and there's going to be a lot of different actors playing all of these characters, and there's a lot of different actors playing Hamlet. There's a lot of different actors playing a lot of different characters, and you just have to, everybody's got a different take on the character,
It's also funny that Mark Hamill also does Ericus in Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, and then I directed him in a Robotech movie too. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I have a funny story for you, actually. That
All right, go ahead.
When they first brought me in to do Kingdom Hearts, I have to tell you, I really didn't know anything about the game because I hadn't played it, and I didn't know anything about Billy Zane's portrayal of Ansem or anything.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that they cast me as this character, and that's basically all I knew when I went in there. So when I went in, there was about 6 Japanese people in the booth, and there was 6 people from Disney there, and they were all in the booth together. And whenever I did one line, the engineer would come on the talk back, and he would say, "Just a minute," and they would talk amongst themselves for like 5 minutes, and they would come back and say, "Can you do that a little slower?" And I would do a little slower, and they say, "Just a minute." They would talk amongst themselves for 5 minutes, and they come back and say, "Can you do that a little faster?" And this went on like all day long. I was like ready to jump off a cliff at one point, and we had a break. And I took the engineer aside, and I said, "How did Christopher Lee put up with that?" He said, "Oh, they tried to do it to him once," and he said, "All right, I'm going to tell you how we're going to do this. I'm going to read this script from the top to the bottom, and then I'm going home." How cool is that?
Christopher Lee. Oh, that's right, because he was Diz, right?
Oh yeah, he was, and he's such a great actor. But it's so funny to me because I wanted to do that, but it was my first time there. Now that I've done like 5 or 6 of them, I can probably.
Well, also, sort of speaking of Birth by Sleep, how is it like doing Terranort?
That was great. I mean, I enjoy all of the characters. They're all wonderful. It would be fun for me. I'm not sure if they would ever do this, but it would be like I would really enjoy getting deeper into these characters, especially Ansem. I would love to find out a little bit more about him and his background. And I know he was the assistant who became, the...
Yeah, he was the heartless side.
Yes, but I just think I'd like to know a little bit more about him, and I think it would be interesting to kind of go beyond some of that stuff, and get to the heart of it, if you pardon the expression.
Yeah. How do you record the attack grunts and expressions when you record some of the games?
You mean like the efforts you're talking about, all that stuff?
Yeah, like how the people have you seen them on YouTube where someone has put together all the like huh, yeah, like all that stuff?
Well, that's it. You just did it. That's what we do. I mean, they basically tell us what's going on. All the games, are kind of they do it pretty similarly. Is that a word, similarly?
Yeah, I guess so.
In that they basically, they'll tell you, okay, and sometimes they'll record it all at once, and which is nice because if you can say that stuff to the end of the session, it's always better for your throat, obviously. But sometimes they'll go through a list of stuff like, oh, here you're getting hit, and I want a small version. Give me a few small versions and a few medium versions of that, and then a few heavy versions of that, and so you go through the whole thing, and you're getting hit, and you're giving them different reactions and sounds, and then okay, the next one, all right, now you're hitting him, you're swinging a big axe, and you're hitting him, so you go through all this stuff, and they kind of talk you through it, and you give them all the reactions, and I kind of enjoy doing the reactions. I've been doing, I cut my teeth on these, I like to call them chop sake films from Indonesia, different places like that. So we did all this stuff, when we were dubbing way back in, the day. God, that must have been like the 70s, for God's sakes, that we were doing all these movies. And so I cut my teeth on all that stuff. And so for me, it's really second nature. It comes very easily to me. And I know some actors really have a hard time with that stuff, but I get a kick out of it. I really have fun with it.
Would you like to continue doing Ansem or other voices in future Kingdom Hearts games?
I would love to keep doing Ansem. I love Ansem. He's a great character. Like I say, I'd love to see a little bit more of his, his inner self exposed a little bit. And, I'd love to continue with the game, but, I'm not sure where they're going with it. I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. And I've been on other games where I've been the lead in the game. And, for example, Xenosaga, I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but we did 3 of those, and I played Ziggurat 8 in that. He was the lead, one of the lead characters in that, and we were supposed to do 5, and they only did 3 of them. So, I mean, you never know. So I never I never put a lot of hope into this stuff. If another one comes around, it would be great. I would love it. And like I say, I've really enjoyed being part of this incredible franchise. And I hope it goes on for a while. I would love to continue being part of it.
Yeah, they introduce time travel in the game. I think it'd be cool for Ansem maybe to reappear during the time travel in future games.
Well, that's very true. Yeah, so somebody else mentioned that to me too. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Like, yes, maybe he should talk back to Riku maybe in future games. Like, you should still come back to the darkness.
Yes, yeah, everyone should. You know why? We have cookies.
Oh man, you know that meme? That's hilarious. Oh man. You could do the full on he opens the dark portal, walks up to him during dream drop distance. He's like, at the start of your test, I started making you cookies.
Well, I do that. People always say, "Will you give me will you do the voice for me at convention and stuff?" And I always do that anyway. Come to the darkness. We have cookies. So that always gets a nice laugh. So.
All right. Yeah, so do you have any last minute sort of advice for maybe future voice actors or acting in general?
Well, a lot of people ask me this stuff, and I do a lot of conventions with my wife, Ellen Stern, who's also a wonderful actor and director in her own right. And that's the number one question: how do I get into this stuff? How do I do it? And the real answer to this is that if it's something you really want to do and you really want to pursue, then you should become the best actor you can be. Go and train and just work hard at it. Take a lot of acting courses, take voice courses, and if you can't afford, some of these private coaches are very expensive, and some of them are scam artists, and you don't want to get involved with that. But go to legitimate teachers, people that have legitimate credits, and work very hard because it's super competitive. It really is, and you have to be that one person who stands out or does something different that they notice, and don't try to go in and copy other people, and just try to create your own thing and what's unique about yourself and that's what you want to bring to the table. All
right. Well, thank you again, Richard, for joining us on the Disney Dudes.
Hey, Kevin, my pleasure, and thanks for having me. And once again, I'm sorry it took a while to get me here, but
no problem.
We finally made it.
All right. Well, there you have it, Disney Dudes and Dudettes. Words from Ansem, Seeker of Darkness himself. All right. Well, thank you again, Richard. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.